And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Let's talk with now Terry Sabiston, who is our WNDB sports director from our Car Clinic affiliate, our inaugural station. Love that area. You guys are fantastic. 93.5 FM in Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach, the surrounding area, and WNDB 1150 AM. Terry, it sure is fun to have you back in the house. Welcome. How's Daytona?
After the past few days, it could not get much better. We're pushing almost 60 degrees right now, and that's higher than anything we've seen in 3 days. It's been a fun three days here. Cold but fun. A lot of activity on the track with the duels and the trucks running and all the practices. There's actually been 9 Sprint Cup practices with one coming up right now. Happy hour getting ready to start at 10:30. A beautiful day for being at Daytona International Speedway. And I got to credit all the fans who came out here and spent the time the past couple nights in 30 and 40 degree weather to watch these guys race, because they put on one great show.
Well, I got to tell you, I just returned, as I said, from Texas, and it was 55 degrees in Texas. I landed here on the Gulf Coast of Florida in Pensacola, center of the automotive universe, and it's 38 degrees. And I was like, what's wrong with this picture? You know, and so you're talking about 50 degrees. But let's talk about the racing, and also I just want to bring up the fact that at the National Ethanol Convention, we talked about octane, we talked about new engines, and I know we all know now that of course, NASCAR has sanctioned and is running E15 and all those automobiles. Aren't NASCAR and race cars running faster these days with the same engine and the same weight automobile?
Actually, they're running about the same speeds with a smaller engine and less horsepower.
How does that work? So give me the secret.
Yeah, well, you put the research and technology, as you know, and I've heard you say it before, that little spoiler on the front of your car gives you 1/10 of 1% increase in fuel mileage. So the research and technology is there, and they take advantage of it in every way. They're actually running about the same speeds they were running in the past, maybe a little slower, and they're doing it with less horsepower. And you're going to see that at every track this year with the new rules. So it's just a change that they're making the car, I believe, a little lighter also, and change the center of gravity.
And so, Terry, that less horsepower comes from a smaller engine?
I believe it's, a smaller engine, or in the EFI system, maybe they're reducing that power. There's, with that electronic fuel injection, they can do just about whatever they want with these engines, and they're setting the limits on those.
That's for sure. So, speaking of that, I don't know if you know this or not, but if you're privy to this, or if you're privy to share it with us, but that's okay. Folks, don't listen to this. So my question is, if I'm a race team owner, and I have a mapping fuel and timing curve for my EFI, electronic fuel injected NASCAR engine, can I do anything I want to do, or do I have to get that program from NASCAR?
NASCAR, they load the EFI, they give them the EFI equipment. It's part of it. It's just like the now they're not restrictor plates, they're actually taper plates this year. So it's an issued item, just like the rear. I believe the rear shocks are a NASCAR issued item. So they control that EFI. You get 2 of them. They put them in the car. You cannot do, you run it through a computer check, but you're limited on what you can do on those by NASCAR.
So you can't go into the economic mode, into that economy mode, and into the power mode?
No, you cannot do that. That does not work that way.
That is not fair. There's technology there. I mean, let's face it. If you've got air and fuel, and you want to burn more fuel, and you want to go faster, and then take the chance of running out of fuel at the end of the race, you should have that capability.
Well, I believe if you give the ability to do some of those things, knowing these people in NASCAR, they'll find a way to make it even a bigger advantage. And NASCAR is trying to level the playing field. And it came up the other day, I forget where it was, that at 1/10 of 1% of the speed on the racetrack is 13 feet at Daytona International Speedway.
1/10 of 1 say again, 1/10 of 1%.
1/10 of 1%, or maybe it's 1%. Yeah, 1% of the Daytona International Speedway is 13 feet. Okay.
Okay.
So if you get a 1% gain over the rest of the guys, 13 feet every lap, you'll lap the field after a while.
Oh, that's great.
They're closer than that. They're down to tenths of percentages between these cars.
Well, that just lets me know that I can run 0.5%. Okay, so who's the win? What's the race like? Give us a quick overview, 30,000-foot view of the activities today and this afternoon and tonight's big race.
Well, we wrapped up the truck race last night. Tyler Reddick won that. 6 of the 7 front runners in that race, that's the best finish they ever had in a NASCAR race. And so there you go. That's what it's about. The young guns, the young kids are coming up. Today we're going to see more of that with the Chase Elliott's and these other Landon Castles in the Xfinity Series. Right now we got Cup practice. Xfinity qualifying 12:15 right after you get done. And we'll be covering that this afternoon from 12 to 3. Then we turn it over to MRN for the race this afternoon. So they will qualify today at 12:15 and race at 3 o'clock in the Xfinity Series. This is the last Cup practice. A lot of exciting week. I think the number of actual cars that have been damaged in the Cup Series before the duels was 42.
Wow.
To give you a hint of how the racing's been.
Now, team brings 2 cars, right? They bring a car and a backup car. I mean,
think about Clint Boyer. He was in the Sprint Unlimited, wrecked his car in that. Went out on qualifying Sunday, got wrecked in that. Brought out a 3rd car. He's in his 3rd car, and he made it through everything. And I'm pretty sure there's probably a 4th floating around that they might just have to change the wrap on from one of the other cars on his team if they had to have another one. But yeah, he's gone through 3. He's in his 3rd race car for the week. Danica the same way. And there's some teams that didn't have backups and had to borrow cars to get into the race.
How's Danica this year?
Danica's had her challenges this year. Denny Hamlin and her have gotten a little too close a couple times, and from Denny's point of view, she's loose, and when I get close to her, she spins, and from her point of view, you get too close and you make me loose and I spin, and they've agreed to disagree on that, and Denny Hamlin said, look, we're friends. I park next to you in the RV lot. I'm here. I got your back, and Danica's like, you keep doing this, and so from that perspective, it's pretty funny. It's entertaining. Danica's getting some attention, but she's really having some tough luck with race cars.
That's too bad. I will tell you, there's nothing I would like better than to see her win and to see her the last half of the race, the last 50 laps of the race. She's had some challenges, but she's got to be, she has to be gifted driver, because anyone that can drive an open wheel, nothing demeaning to NASCAR, but open wheel is a very different animal altogether, and she was good at that.
It is, and there's a lot of luck involved here. People complain about Danica Patrick not winning races, but how many years did Michael Waltrip race? Over 300 races before he got his first win.
Michael who? Michael who?
He's a 2-time Daytona 500 winner, so I'd say that puts him up there in an elite group.
It just proves that luck wins out over skill.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. So I'm not a big Waltrip fan, but I'll tell you. What about Gordon? As we get toward the end of this segment, Gordon, is he going to retire? Is he done, or is he going to hang around?
Pardon me, I got PA in the background.
Okay.
On that one.
Is Jeff Gordon going away?
I think you'll see him out of the Cup Series. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I think he'll be around the Cup Series. I think you'll see him. Who knows? He might be a Mark Martin and do some fill-in stuff. I don't think he's going to run any plate races after he gets done with this, because he's not a big. He might have had a great week this week, but still, as he said, he's got a family and kids and wife, and there's responsibilities, and plate racing just doesn't seem to be a priority.
Yeah, you mean there's life
back in a race car.
So there's life besides racing for Jeff Gordon. Well, fancy that. Terry, thanks so much for joining us this morning on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Always great to have you. I'll let you get back to, I guess we could call it work, but by the same token, you do a great job, and it's always a pleasure to have you, and we're just honored that you would take the time and appreciate all your input, and I thank you so much.
Well, Bobby, my day started coming into the track this morning on my way into the tunnel. all of a sudden I see 6 beautiful F-16s flying over the track at the Thunderbirds doing a practice. I get out of the WNDB van, and I'm walking in, and I literally get right in the center of the fan zone, and here they come doing it again. So dress rehearsal for the 500. The Thunderbirds are here. I've had a great start to my day, especially with my military background. I worked on F-15s and was qualified on F-16s, but nothing more beautiful than the Thunderbirds flying over Daytona International Speedway.
Well, I'll let you go. Hey, thank you so much, Terry. Thanks for joining us. And, folks, Jeff Griffin from Stance coming up. Thanks again, Terry.